Alright, hello, this is GenDragon32, and I am going to do my own response to the NFGeeks video challenge, because there isn't enough information about me or ENTPs on the internet these days. So anyhow, let's begin. Number 1, what is your type? As I just said, ENTP. Surprise! 2, what are you primarily interested in? Good thing you chose the word primarily, because, as other ENTPs before me have noted, interested in everything that I'm interested in, which sounds like a circular kind of response, but actually, it's totally random. Intuition just gets interested in whatever the heck it wants to be interested in, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it sometimes. However, I am in fact generally interested in anything produced by the human brain, from electrical signals to aneurysms to language and stories and culture and everything. Absolutely everything produced by the human brain. I believe this to be an extension of my anti-narcissism, because I view myself as a disembodied head, and any reflection on the brain is actually all about me in the end. And, you know, how we're all alike and things of that nature. But how do you relate to your temperament? That anti-narcissism thing and the total random interests. I also like things that explode and old-timey flingy machines like trebuchets and catapults. I also like random ancient historical things like Galen. Galen was the dude, and Socrates, and the invention of running plumbing is, even though I'm not a physical objects kind of person, you know, the amenities that people did have in ancient times and how they figured that out. That was pretty cool. And then we lost everything, and then finally we had to come around to like plumbing. But you know, they had showers in Crete. I think that's awesome. So anyway, another example of random stuff. Also, I'm pretty much fulfill the categorical expectations of an ENTP pretty closely. The thing that I don't do is I don't usually get bored. I did get bored for the first time in maybe a year, while I was waiting for the second time in the show. I was at the end of the show was when my act came on, and so I was waiting for 2 hours backstage, and I got really bored, so the next day I bought duct tape and made a boat. I also brought coloring books. Really awesome coloring books. Anyway, so that made me a hit with the kids. Suddenly the duct tape became a fashion. Like, the little girl who was in my show was making a duct tape necklace and stuck it in her pocket when we went on. I made her take it off for curtain call. And there were high school kids that were making like a shawl, and there was a 10-year-old who made a vest, but it looked more like a harness. It was awesome. It was really, I started a trend. I also like starting trends totally randomly. The more random the trend, the more awesome. And so randomness is one of the things generally prized by ENTPs. Being with people who appreciate us or can also roll with the ridiculousness, highly prized. The narcissism. Because when you live in your own head, you are the only thing that you can't get away from. It's always there. You are always there. The impersonal judgments, but I am growing into my corporate ethic judgment ability, i.e. my FE, more than many ENTPs that I know or have heard tell of. what got you interested in MBTI? That is a fascinating question. Kind of goes with the next one, how has MBTI impacted your life? I actually can't remember, and it's also related to being an ENTP. I don't remember how the things got there. I just know that it's part of my web of everything. And I know that I took a version of the test in high school. I tested INFJ because I was depressed. And in the oppressive scenarios, like high school was not good. So within that, it's not okay to be me. I have no idea why these people don't like me environment. I defaulted to introversion, and my F kind of popped out there. But always highly intuitive. There was no way around that one. And then it kind of disappeared from my consciousness. I actually used a lot of fictional metrics to try to explain who I was and get a handle on who I was and how I worked. So, like, I would read, like, science fiction or fantasy, and there would be, like, in a fantasy setting, noble houses that are associated with certain characteristics. It was Stephen Brust's Dragera series, a lot for that. Or a science fiction series. I read The Gods Themselves in high school. And there was this alien race where the non-adult forms of this race came in three parts. There were three genders. There was the rational, the emotional, and the parental. And so I was trying to, anything that I could grasp to sort myself and explain and where did I fit in the whole grand scheme of things. And I know this didn't become a big thing in my undergrad, and I don't think it was in grad school either. I think it was after I graduated. And somewhere close to my own great awakening, when I finally pulled out of the depression and became myself again, somewhere around there is when I got a hold of MBTI again. And so I kind of incorporated it into my my Renaissance and Enlightenment era of my life. I like to think that I'm currently in my enlightenment. I would like the enlightenment to last for a long time. Industrial revolution can happen when I get my SI. Anyhow, so that was a much better, and scientific is always nice when you're a TI user, and much more explanatory. First of all, I used it during the Renaissance period of my life as explanation for me, and I would look up everything about ENTPs, and I finally tested ENTP, and it was like, oh, someone interviewed me in my sleep. And then when I started to pull out of the rebellion from being depressed for so long, I started looking at, okay, now let's also look at other people. Oh, this is why we have personality conflicts. Aha! So they need me to talk to them like this. Okay. And so this has been a very positive thing, and I use it thinking about my students. I use it thinking about people at my church, my poor housemate who's been completely converted because resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. The MBTI Borg. Right. Everybody in my life now knows exactly what type they are and what type I am and what that means and what they're like. Yeah. So it's been completely incorporated into the way that I view and process my interpersonal relationships and extrapersonal relationships. I'm watching other people. I'm thinking the same thing because theories are awesome. I love theories. So that's for 4 and 5. And object book possession. Okay, it's really, really, really hard to stick with one. So I've got a few things. Only a few. The first is, this is the hard to read. Backwards. There we go. tag plate for this office. As you may see, it says the Silmarillion. This is my office. It is named the Silmarillion, after the book by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is kind of like the epic Beowulf-esque saga of the creation of Middle-earth and everything that happens before Lord of the Rings. And you'll notice that, anyway, lamps and trees. I don't have time to go into all of that detail. Anyway, there's a inscription at the bottom about Galadriel when she was young, and she was born in Valinor, which is like heaven. But she was a little feisty and control-y sometimes, and so this is a description of her that I took for myself. And she had dreams of far-off lands and dominions that might be her own, that she might fashion by herself without tutelage. Yes. I couldn't find the one for my bedroom, which is the Scarlet Pimpernel, and there's a similar inscription about Marguerite Blakeney, which was her salon in Paris before she got married was dedicated to originality and intellect, to brilliance and wit, and also for me. Then I have my Mythbusters calendar. Yes, my roommate gave me this for Christmas because she's awesome that way, and I love Mythbusters. Yes. I don't know any NTs that don't love Mythbusters. And finally, I have A Tale of Despero, which is an adorable middle grade book. And you don't usually think of NTs and adorable things. But the thing that I really like, as I mentioned, I really like stories. Anything that came out of the human brain. And the thing that I really love about The Tale of Despero is it's a fairy tale. It has all of the elements, the classic elements of fairy tale. There are anthropomorphized animals, and there's a princess and a king and a lost queen, the mother who died. But all of there are multiple morals that are updated for our new understanding of morality and what children should be taught. You know, it's about empathy for people who are not like you, and honor, and it's not a reactionary thing. It's an actual positive movement forward, and I think that is awesome. I really think that is awesome. Misconceptions about my type. I guess that a lot of people tend to think that we are arrogant and irresponsible and self-absorbed. And to a certain extent, this is true, but it's not true the way that you think. The fact is that when we finally trust ourselves that, yes, in fact, we can do pretty much anything randomly on the fly, and it works better that way. We really work better that way. Planning beforehand, we're going to make mistakes, but if we just like, oh, okay, I'll do this, it'll work out, MacGyver style. That's just our better way to be. And so if we have a little excess of confidence sometimes, we also have our tongues firmly in our cheeks the vast majority of the time. We might come off a little bit arrogant, but we also, we don't take ourselves seriously. We don't take anything serious. Well, we do, but we don't. There's this yes and no paradox at all times, and we're not just jerks. We're humorous jerks sometimes. What is the limitation experiences my type? Forms, deadlines, paying bills on time. I always pay rent, but everything else, oh crap, that was due yesterday. Not that I think this is okay inherently. I actually want to be reliable and trustworthy and fulfill my duty, but I find it very, very, very mentally and emotionally draining to have the type of vigilance that, for example, an SJ would have, is beyond me to maintain consistently. I can do it sometimes. I can't do it all the time. I wish I could. I really wish I could. Because, you know, the thing that I can do is show up, be me, and, you know, fill the room with corporate awesome. Not just me, but everybody. Raise the level of awesome in everybody. But I can't. Logistics. Can't do it. What is my ultimate dream endeavor? Honestly, to be a professional actress. I want to run away and join a Shakespeare circus. I really do. One wish. How can you limit me to one wish for reals? And do you want a totally massively hypothetical wish? Or do you want a wish that I think I might be able to achieve given a lifetime? So I guess I'll give you... Oh, that was... it was something when I can make up my own. Make up my own. See, I did actually think about this beforehand, and now, like, I don't know. Good question. I guess the one wish it would be a wish or something I want you to understand about me and my type is we're still human beings. Sometimes people look at us like we're supermensch because we do the things that most people can't, but we can't do the things that most people can. There's always a balance there. On the other hand, some people, because we can't do the things that they can, they look at us like we're from Mars or something. And some ENTPs will desire acceptance more than others. But we do have that tertiary FE, so generally speaking, desiring to be part of a group, some group, any group, is there. And if you can understand us, please, please do. Please take the time to. If you can't, just be okay with us. That's okay too. I guess that's the last thing I would want to say. So have a magnificent day. And I will see you again one of these days. I have some new theories, etc. to propound, and there will be an ENTP INTJ video coming up soon. So until next time.